Hey everyone, welcome to the channel, and this is a video I've actually been planning on making for a while now, but I'm making it now. That's cool. So, I use the map maker in GeoGuessr quite a lot to make my videos, and a lot of the time I just end up getting sidetracked and finding pretty interesting and unique places. But in this video, I've found some places with official Google coverage. So that means that you can actually get them in the game. You can actually find them in the game. And I've looked into this. I've like confirmed it. Like I've researched some stuff. Like yeah, you can find these places in GeoGuessr, even though it might be really rare. So it's gonna be a shorter video, but I just kind of wanted to check out some of these places and show you where you can find them. So the first one, and also, if I missed anything, like if I missed any countries, let me know. But anyways, in North America, we have Costa Rica. And I think this is a pretty well-known one. I've gotten a couple times, but just in San Jose, there's like this like stadium slash park, and I mean, it's not like anything super special. It looks like this. It's a stadium, and then the park looks like this. It's a park. I mean, it's all trucker coverage, so that also might help a bit. I don't really know. It doesn't seem too hard to like just kind of remember this area. Like it's a very uncommon place to get, but just in case, this is what it looks like. There's not really a particular meta, and that's kind of the case with all of these. There's not really a meta to tell them apart. You kind of just have to remember the landscape and the places it's around because it's a pretty limited area that you're working with in the first place. So the next place I wanted to look at is in Africa, and I've actually covered this on the channel a couple of times because a lot of people are confused by this. I actually learned about this when I was first like getting into GeoGuessr, just from like the GeoGuessr subreddit and the GeoGuessr community, because people had found this before, and it's actually kind of new. But this is Mali, and there's a couple cities in Mali with coverage, but it's just trucker coverage around like mosques and like religious buildings. It kind of looks like Senegal almost exactly, but like with trucker coverage because I don't even think Senegal has trucker coverage. Like yeah, the same poles and stuff. One interesting part is like the people and like a lot of the moving objects are like blurred like that. So that's kind of a meta, I guess. Also, the camera is like on a tripod, and you can actually see the tripod both in the shadow and looking down. So I guess that's kind of a meta you can use, but I've literally never gotten Molly before. It's incredibly rare. I'll probably never get it, but it is, you know, in like the 1%, 0.1% chance that you end up ever finding it. This is what it looks like. Also on the African continent, I mean, Madagascar is pretty well known that it has trucker coverage, even though it's actually pretty limited to like very small pockets, just like some up here, some in the capital, and then there's some down here. This is the most interesting one. Madagascar has a lot of kind of weird coverage because it's all like trekker. There's like one truck, and it's weird. It's weird, but this is the weirdest coverage. It's like it's like this. It's like a cart. So yeah, I guess this is also a meta you can use if you see the cart like this. You're in this southwestern area of Madagascar. I've actually gotten this before as well. Yeah, so Madagascar is a lot more common than a lot of the other ones I'm gonna be going over. But moving it up here, this is one I was actually planning on covering in my islands video, but just because it's like super uncommon and like I've never heard anyone talk about this being in GeoGuessr, I just didn't even bother with it. So the British Indian Ocean Territory is like kind of like a British like military base that they have in the Indian Ocean. And it's just like a chain of like islands. And some of these islands have coverage. Some of these northern islands up here have coverage. And like I don't think anyone lives on them. So like this is it. It's just sand. It's just like on a beach. I have like looked into this. Like I've looked at the street view a lot. So I think if I did get it, I would be able to recognize it. But yeah, this could definitely. I don't even know if anyone's ever got this before. Well, I'm assuming someone's probably got it, but like, it's probably incredibly rare. But yeah, this is the British Indian Ocean Territory. And then going into the Middle East, Lebanon. This is also like Costa Rica. It's a pretty well-known one for like kind of weird trekker coverage areas that are pretty uncommon. I've got this as well before, and it tripped me up a lot because there's actually not really anything to like tell that's Lebanon at first, but they do have these kind of unique license plates that they're like the same width and length as a North American license plate, but they have the blue strip on them like in Europe. So that's good to know. And also you have like this kind of like Middle Eastern buildings with like this like coloring to them, but like it's pretty like temperate and like it's not it doesn't look super dry, basically. Like, there's lots of trees. But that's Lebanon. And this was one I've gotten pretty recently. I didn't even know this was here because like one of the first things that like you kind of learn when playing GeoGuessr is that in Europe, Belarus does not have coverage. This isn't true at all because Belarus absolutely has coverage, but only in the capital. And they use the Cyrillic alphabet here, so I totally thought it was like Russia, or yeah, I thought it was Russia, but it definitely looks a bit more like Baltic, and like the camera is like kind of like at a weird angle as well. If you like look around, the coverage is like incredibly limited. So that can also tell it apart from like Russia and other countries like that. But yeah, Belarus does have coverage. It actually has like full on like car coverage, which is pretty interesting. Some of the last locations in this video. I've also covered this and I've gotten this tons of times. This is China, Beijing. At like the in the very center of the city, there's like a palace kind of thing. And you get this a lot in country streaks, duels, and like the daily challenge. I've gotten in all those. I've never gotten on single player, but you can totally find it in those game modes. I mean, it's pretty unique. Like you can definitely tell this is China. And then finally, this is probably my favorite part of the whole video, is Antarctica, which does have official Google coverage. And it's only in like this area right here, and like just like closing this, you can see that there's like just like these tiny pockets of coverage. So up here, I'll get into this later. It's like incredibly dry, arid, mountainous, snowy. It almost looks like northern Canada or like Greenland or even like Kyrgyzstan or something like that. Like in some areas, like with how like dry and mountainous it is. It kind of reminds you of that, but also like Canada, Greenland as well. And you can also like see the trucker dude's hair. And then there's also this station right here, which is like really close by. And it's just snow. Same trucker coverage, but this is a base. Yeah, it's actually not that interesting at all. But it's kind of cool that Antarctica does have official coverage, and that technically speaking, you could get Antarctica, even though it's like these tiny pockets of coverage. Like I think like I would assume for like meters of coverage, Mali probably has more coverage than Antarctica, because like this is it. This is all Antarctica has. Like the British Indian Ocean Territory probably has more coverage than it. But yeah, that's some of the weird places I found while using the map maker to make videos. I kind of just wanted to go over all that in this video. My voice is sounding kind of weird, so I'll see you in the next one.